All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome to the last installment of the Modern Horizons 2 complete set review. Every card, limited, constructed. We're going through all of them. And we come to our last section. That is the colorless section. That includes all the artifacts as well as all the lands. White, blue, black, red, green, multicolored, all done. If you missed them, they'll be on YouTube. Go watch it. Check the playlist out. Check the YouTube out. Appreciate that. All my YouTube folks watching right now, hit that like button, hit the comment button, subscribe. Help me out. It's free. It's easy. And of course, if you want to support me more than that, $5 a month, YouTube membership, tons of perks. Check it out. Watch a video on it. Really appreciate that. Thanks so much. Let's go. Let's go with our final section. Quick reminder also, next week, Mog Monday versus Aspiring Spike. Mog Monday Showdown. That's on Monday at noon. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 new brews in Modern. 10 complete Modern leagues. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 new brews. I'm pumped. You should be too. It's going to be freaking awesome. All right? Let's go right here, right now, with Colorless. Here for Colorless. Academy Manufacturer. 3 mana for a 1/3. If you would create a clue, a food, or treasure, instead, make one of each. So, really, really cool limited card. The blue-green mechanic is based around lots of tokens and stuff like that. That's a lot of material. A lot of material. Probably not good enough for Modern. Making material is great and all. Playing a 3 mana 1/3 is not great. But in limited, this is a super awesome card. Of course, clues, foods, and treasures are all phenomenal in their own ways. Very, very cool. Just a cool effect, honestly. Just a cool effect. Probably a first pickable rare, honestly, if you're like trying to draft like the tokeny countery deck. Grows the cat oven. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool with cat oven this for sure. Cool card. Super cool card. Assembly Worker is adorable. A lot of fun little throwbacks here. Just a fun draft card. Super fun draft card. Up next is Altar of the Goyf. 5 mana, tribal artifact Lurgoyf. This is a tribal artifact. That's right, tribal still exists. They really got to make sure they have at least one card for every single mechanic in the history of Magic in the set. That's how they do it. And Altar of the Goyf says, whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +X end of turn, where X is the number of card types among all cards in all graveyards. Lurgoyfs you control have trample. This is a good limited card. I mean, this is just a 5 mana artifact that adds a bunch of power to the board and over and over and over again. So, really, really good limited card here. Especially if you're like the Delirium deck, things like that. Just a powerful card. Constructed, no, but super cool card, super cute card. I like it a lot. Pretty fun, pretty cute. Obviously, it's tribal. It's a Lurgoyf. It's got Goyf in it. It's just cool. Fun limited card for sure. Batterbone is next. 2 mana living weapon, so it makes a germ. Her creature has +1/+1 vigilance and lifelink, and it equips for 5. So this is a 1/1 lifelink here with vigilance and lifelink. 5 mana later. This is a good draft card, honestly. It makes a piece of material to start, which is not nothing. And then later in the game, lifelink and vigilance is one of the best things you can have on a creature. It is very slow. But this is quite the powerful end game card for your draft deck. Move this thing around when you're mana flooded. It's an artifact, obviously, for synergies. Cool card. It's obviously a little bit of a batter skull, which is kind of cute. But yeah, pretty decent draft card. Not amazing, but decent draft card for sure. Up next is Bottle Golems. Get it? Bottle Gnomes. 4 mana for a 3/3 trample. When it dies, you gain life equals its power. Just a middling draft card. It's cute. It's a joke. You get it. Bottle Gnome. Just gonna move on. Brainstone. 1 mana artifact. Pay 2, sack it to Brainstorm. If this card costs 1 and 1, it would be absurd. It'd be absurdly good. But it does not. And the reason why it doesn't is probably cards like Luris, cards like Emery, and at the cost it's at, it doesn't feel very exciting, honestly. 3 mana to cast Brainstorm, it's just not very good. Brainstorm's good because it costs 1, not 3, so Brainstone's kind of cute. Definitely a one of in some decks, it's a decent tutor target for things. But just not particularly exciting. Just very, very clunky. Very, very clunky. And limited, sure, it's great. Limited is a totally reasonable card, limited, but yeah. I think it's a little too clunky for what it does. It is cool with Lurrus, but yeah. Yes, at 1 mana to cast and 1 mana to activate, this would be the Arkham's Astrolabe of the set. Not even close. Absolutely. Totally agree. And like Arkham's Astrolabe, it has the problem of you just can't fairly cost it. You know, at 2 mana, Arkham's Astrolabe is very mediocre, and at 1 it's too good. You can't make it cost 1.5, you know? Yeah, ideally this would activate for 1.5 mana. That would be the place where it's like very good but not broken, but you can't do that. So moving on to Dermotaxi, really weird card. 2 mana vehicle. It's got Imprint, another weird mechanic. When it comes into play, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard and imprint it on a Dermotaxi. Then you can tap 2 untapped creatures you control. I'm sorry, it's any graveyard. Then you can tap 2 untapped creatures you control to... why does it have a... I guess it's not like a... There's no keyword for vehicles? Whatever. Tap 2 untapped creatures you control. On end of turn, Dermotaxi becomes a copy of the exiled card. Becomes also a vehicle. So you get to exile a card from the graveyard and then have it come back for more. It's certainly cute. I'm sure there's some stupid combo with this card for sure. I mean, like, you could, yeah, sure, imprint prime time, sure. You know, like, yeah, crew, right? Yeah, it should say crew, but it doesn't say crew. Right, sure. So if it crewed, it wouldn't work right. So that's very fair. That's very fair. It's very cheap. It's very, very cheap. It's not hard to, like, you know, turn 1, discard it goes a brand, turn 2, imprint it. The problem is, like, most decks that would be trying to, like, reanimate something aren't just going to have, like, 2 random creatures laying around to crew this thing. So it's a kind of card where there's a lot of raw power here, but what do you do with it? Like, what moving parts make this card reasonable? Maybe it's like Lingering Souls, something like that. You know, like, what's the catch here that allows me to use this card immediately? So it's a very weird card. Very, very weird card. Limited. It's so weird because the thing is that you need to have the card you want in the graveyard when you cast it. So if it ain't there yet, it's not a 2-drop. You know, it's not a 2-drop. So you don't need to cast it on turn 3 or 4. It's just such a weird card. Wouldn't be surprised if it did something, but very weird card. Very, very strange. I don't know what to say about it anymore. It's just a weird one. The power level's there, but a lot of weird moving parts to make it work. Up next is Diamond Lion. 2 mana for a 2/2. Lion's Eye Diamond. Of course, having Summoning Sickness makes Lion's Eye Diamond a lot worse. Probably not seeing this card do much. The powerful things about Lion's Eye Diamond is you can play it and then play it again from your graveyard and stuff like that. So this card ain't doing much probably, but it's a fun throwback. Kind of cool. You can Madness off it. It's kind of cool, I guess, right? That works. But yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Fodder Tosser, 3 mana artifact. Discard a card, and it deals 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. So this is like your Madness outlet if you're desperate for a Madness outlet. Probably not worth a card. Probably not worth a card. You can turn, like, you know, random, like, lands into 2 damage, but not super exciting. Not super exciting, honestly. Cauldra Complete. No? No best in show. 7 mana. Legendary artifact equipment. This is all the Cauldra pieces together. Living weapon. So there's a 0/0 Phyrexian on it. Germ. Indestructible. Equipped creature gets +5/+5. Has first strike, trample, indestructible, haste. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile this creature. So, best in show? Nah. This card is solely in the conversation because of Stoneforge Mystic. That's it. Without Stoneforge Mystic being legal, this card is nothing. The problem with this card is, what makes Stoneforge so good is its card advantage. Okay? So you Stoneforge for a Batterskull. They bolt your Stoneforge. Well, guess what? The Batterskull is still in your hand. And 5 mana is not a crazy amount of mana. Alright? 7 mana is a crazy amount of mana. I'm going to give you all a moment while I blow my nose to think about how much mana 7 mana is in Modern. Ready? Go.
Oh my god, Becky.
7 mana is so much mana. So much mana. It's unbelievable. It's just so much. Like, that if they kill your Stoneforge, you've basically got nothing. You just have a card just rotting in your hand. So, if Stoneforge lives, this card is insanely good. If Stoneforge dies, your Stoneforge is just a 1-for-1. It's not a 2-for-1 anymore. And that's not good. So, what do you get off this? You get a 5/5 first strike, trample, indestructible, haste with some text on it. So it's sure 5/5 trample, haste, indestructible, reasonable, reasonable. But again, is that better than a 4/4 lifelinker? Yes. Is it worth the trouble? I don't think so. I don't think so. So I think this card is maybe it sees play in Stoneforge decks. I'm not super high on it. I think its Stoneforge decks are probably going to maintain the simple Batterskull and a sword configuration. Batterskull being castable is a really, really, really big deal. If Stoneforge decks are looking for an edge against decks that aren't interactive, sure, this does kill a lot faster than Batterskull does. So if you're playing against Tron, this card is pretty good. So I can see, if they're trying to have a better matchup against Tron or non-interactive decks, or main decking this or boarding it in as a better piece of equipment because like Batterskull sucks against Tron and things like that. That I can buy. But overall, I don't think this is like a necessary part of a Stoneforge package. It's a lot of flashy words, but the big important thing is that you just can't cast this card. And then in Tron, or I don't think you want this card in Tron or Eldrazi Tron. Like if you're playing Karn, you just get Wormcoil over this, right? Like they both died a path, but Wormcoil is like affects the board much more, Doesn't have vigilance, it doesn't defend very well either. It's a 5/5 haster, which is like fine, but so yeah. Overrated. Not super thrilled with it. I don't think it's good enough. I think it's good enough to see like some occasional play as like, a way for Stoneforge decks to close the game faster, but overall, I'm unimpressed. In limited, sure. If you can get 7 mana, it's a good card. Up next is Liquid Metal Torque. 2 mana for a mana rock. That's liquid metal coating for everything but the important part, of course, which is killing lands of Karn. This is fine. Honestly, mana rocks are fine. I played a pretty cool deck on a cool stuff video once that was like, Coal against command and shatters and liquid metal coatings. This plays really well in that deck, which is kind of cool. But you can't target lands, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's not a very good mana rock. It's not a very good liquid metal coating. So realistically, it's probably not good enough for either. But it's a possibility. It's a possibility. Art's weird. It looks like a Mirage card. The colors are very jarring and weird. But Monoskelion, not Triskelion, Monoskelions. It's 1/3 of a Triskelion, right? So 2 mana for a it's a 2/2, but move a counter, deal damage. They added the mana cost so you couldn't combo with it, which is kind of smart. Cool card for modular decks and draft. Obviously, modular encounters on this is insane. But yeah, it's a fun draft card. Good payoff for your modular deck. Reasonable card otherwise. Like just a 2/2 for 2. It's an artifact. It can kill things. Cool card. Cool draft card. Mere Scrapling. 1 mana for a 1. Sacrifice to put a counter on a creature. It's like a weird reverse Arcbound worker. It's okay if you're like looking for cheap artifacts, I guess. It is an onboard like Goblin Slider kind of trick, but not very exciting. Not very exciting. Nettle Cyst. 2 mana for an equipment. Another living weapon. This one has equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Sort of like a mix between Master of Ethereum and Cranial Plating, where if you have 5 artifacts in play, this thing makes a 5/5, which is great. And then if it dies, you equip something else. You put on your Ornithopter, put on your Vault Scourge, whatever. Card's cool. I like it. Card's cool. Doesn't play well with Luris, which is awkward. Might not do enough, but reasonable card. I think it's a reasonable card. In that Master of Ethereum kind of ballpark. They're all on your artifact cards. So, and then limited, this card's phenomenal. I think in your artifact deck, just super super good. Yeah, this card's better than Cauldra for sure. I think for sure. Ornithopter of Paradise. Best in show.
Hey Jim, how's the stream?
What's up, JC? Thanks for the resub. Yeah, I mean, Ornithopter Paradise is a little bit of power creep, obviously, but more of a draft card. This card's going to be very good in drafts because a 2-mana creature is reasonable and a great modular vessel. So you play this on turn 2, you ramp out your large modular creatures, and if they die, here's your vessel for modular counters. So very solid draft card. That's all it is. Just a very solid draft card. Sanctuary Raptor, 3 mana for a 2/1 flyer. If you have 2 more tokens in play, +2/+0 on first strike. Just a great draft card for your token deck. Clues, squirrels, whatever. Good card. Scion of Draco. Best in show. They're really pushing the domain thing. All right, as far as like domain zoo and stuff goes. 12 mana reads like a lot, but it costs 2 less for each land type. So very easy to make this cost 2. This is very easy to make this a 2 mana 4/4 flyer. So doesn't let it bolt, doesn't let it push. And then it gives each creature you control vigilance if it's white, extra if it's blue, life if it's black, first strike if it's red, trample if it's green. So a little upside as well, beyond just being a somewhat hard to kill 4/4 flyer for 2. Yeah, fetch Triumph into Shock will cast this. Turn 1 Noble into Fetch Triumph can cast this. Yeah, really solid card. Just a really solid card for most domain decks, whether you're aggressive or not. If you're like a mid-range domain deck, this is fine too. You know, it blocks pretty well. Just a solid card. You know, is there a benefit to having a 12 drop in your deck, like as far as like mana cost stuff? I don't think so. But probably more of an aggro card than like a Niv-Mizzet card. Waste is not a land type. No, it is not. Omnath, yeah, it's cool with Omnath for sure. It's cool with Niv too. It makes the Niv into like a, you know, whatever, vigilance, hexproof, lifelink, yada yada. This is basic land type. Does this count for? Yeah, I don't think this counts for wastes. Yeah, Territorial Cobble gets first strike and trample, so on and so forth. Manus Rider becomes a. I guess it has vigilance, but hexproof and first strike, which is kind of cool. So very powerful card, very simple, but very efficient. Triomes count. It's each basic land type, not each basic land. So a basic land type is island, swamp, forest, etc. So triomes work, duels work. Just a really powerful card, honestly. And then limited, if you're playing the domain deck, this card's freaking busted. 2 mana for a 4/4 flyer. Obviously, you need to like get your lands in play, but even if you like get 3 land types to play, it costs 6. It's still like okay, you know. So in the right deck, great limited card. And then I think this card will see a lot of play in modern. A lot of play. Good card. Best in show. Scion of Draco. Important to note that the fetch lands were not viable for best in show because they're reprints and they're just not like they're obviously the best cards in the set, but they're not new. So Mirrored Force did nothing wrong. All right. Mirrored Force is a great card. You can't improve on Mirrored Enforcer. Mirrored Force is awesome. I'm mad. So, obviously, just Mirrored Forcer with artifact land cycling. Playable in your draft decks if you're playing a lot of artifacts. Mirrored Enforcer, probably not playable in modern, regardless if artifact lands are legal or not. This card makes me mad. I'm gone. Soul Talisman. So, we get a Soul Ring version of the no mana cost. If you've seen, Soul, we've seen, whatever, no mana cost Lotus, no mana cost Recall. Now we get a no mana cost Soul Ring. And 1 mana to spend 3, get a Soul Ring. Very good Word Mention. Word Mention can go get this, and that's pretty good. Probably not playable in Constructed because 3 is a long time to wait for this effect. But it is powerful. You know, obviously 2 mana. Soul Ring is like one of those broken cards in the history of Magic. I can't fathom why it's legal in Commander, honestly. I just don't really get it. It's just like one of those things. I don't play Commander that much, but like as an outsider's perspective, it's like, what? You cannot get this card with Urza Saga. Urza Saga gets cards that cost 0 or 1. This card has no cost. So, yeah, I mean, in Limited, probably want to play this card in Limited. But yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. Moving on. Steel Dromedary. 3 mana for a 2/2. Comes to play tap with 2+1/+1 counters on it. Doesn't untap during your untap step. It has +1/+1 counter on it. Beginning combat of your turn, you may move a counter from it to another creature. This card's so cool. Just a freaking awesome design. So it comes into play as a 4/4 tapped. You can't use it. God damn it. My allergies are like so good yesterday. Now my sinuses are on fire. Fire! 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 So super fun card. It's a camel and comes in tapped. It gives supplies to your other stuff, and then it untaps. You can use that too. So really cool draft card for modular decks. Just good for artifact decks. Just good in general, honestly. It just adds 4 power to the board. Put where you want it to. Good counter synergies. Just like does a lot of things for a lot of different decks in draft. Super fun. Super fun. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Sword of Hearth and Home. The green-white entry-to Sword Cycle. The Sword Mega Cycle. 3 mana, comes for 2. +2/+2, pro green and white. All the usual stuff. Never deals combat damage to a player. Exile up to 1 creature you control, and then put it search library for. Right, so it basically blanks a creature and searches for a land, which comes in untapped. So he starts with Sword of the Animus. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool card, but like, I don't know if spending 5 mana for a sword and trying to blink your stuff is worth it. And then getting a land is like, okay. But the problem with the swords is that like, it's pretty hard to make swords that are better than Fire and Ice or Feast and Famine. And like, I just don't think it does enough, you know? It's okay. It's okay. Not super excited about it. In the right format, maybe you're like Stoneforging for this if you need like pro green and white, but in limited, it's obviously totally broken, but you get the idea. Tormod Scriptkeeper, get it? It's like Tormod Script, but it's a creature. Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. The Underworld Cookbook for Azabazabazabazabaza. 1 mana artifact. Discard a card, make a food. So Mana Salad, which is kind of cool. 4 mana tap, sacrifice, return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So nothing fancy, but a one-up obviously if you're playing Azamaza, whatever card. Discard a card, make a food is definitely reasonable. Can't reset, thanks so much. Yeah, I mean it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It makes a lot of material. Discard a card, make a food, it's an artifact itself, but not like super exciting, honestly. Not like super exciting. Vectis Gloves, 2 mana 4 and equipment. +2/+2 and has artifact land walk, and then it has equip. Cute draft card, you know, +2/+2 bone splitter. A little overcosted, but a little overcosted. So you actually can't blink your Stoneforge Mystic if the sword is on the Stoneforge Mystic because that's pro white. So then we have Void Mirror. This card is good against Eldrazi Tron, kinda, and then bad against regular Tron. There are so many better Tron hate cards in the set. This card is actually kind of a joke. Tron has Forest and Chromatic Spheres and Stars in their deck. Eldrazi Tron has Cavernous Souls, so they can still cast their spells. It's still very good against them, but like, yeah, this card's okay. But I don't know, whatever. It's a sideboard card, it's okay. God damn it. Sorry. Up next is Void Mirror isn't here to stop Tron, here to stop free spells. Okay, we can talk about that for a second. That's very fair. That's very fair. Very, very fair. So this stops you know, Ancestral Recall or Visions or whatever, Living End, things like that. I guess stops Cascade too. Okay, that's fair. That's very fair. I missed that. I'll take full responsibility for that. What deck are you boarding this in against? You're not boarding it against like Force Negation, you know? So like, what is it worth playing a 2 mana artifact to make it so it's a little harder than to cast their stuff? You know, that I don't know. If it was a broken Cascade deck or a broken something deck, sure, but whatever. Anyway, Zazbza, the Glimmer Wasp, 1 mana. Man, freaking Artbound Worker's come a long way. It's come a long way. 1 mana for a modular 1. If a modular triggered ability would put one or more +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, put that many +1, which is kind of cool. Pay a red to kill your own artifact, which looks silly, but it obviously can help you modular in combat. Pay a white, give it flying. So, I mean, Artbound Worker's like, that's pretty far off playable, I guess, at this point. But kind of a cool card. Probably not good enough. Good and limited, but there need to be a lot of modular stuff happening in Modern to have this happen. Like, Armor Ravager is still really, really good, but don't think this really gets it there. Hardened Scales, maybe. If it's flying, if you play white. It's not bad in Legend Rule. Also very cool. So, it's cute. It's a cool card. I like it. It's possible. Very possible for sure. Cool Loxobots card. Love me some Loxobots. I played Modern before. My God. Bober, take it easy. Yeah, I played Modern once or twice. All right? Yeah. This card's not that good. It's fine. It's okay. It's certainly like a possible playable card, but it's just okay. It's okay. Yeah. What do you want from me? Like, it. All right. So I guess Arcbound Worker does see play in Hardened Scales. So it's obviously better than like Arcbound Worker is, but like without Mox Opal, these textures aren't good anymore. You know, like without Mox Opal, like Affinity isn't good, or Hardened Scales isn't good. So like I don't think that the Glimmer Wasp makes these decks good all of a sudden. You know, like this doesn't make up for losing Mox Opal. You know, so. And the red ability is to make it so you can kill your own stuff for modular. So, moving on to Cursed Totem, our first reprint. 2 mana, activated abilities of creatures can't be activated. Good card for the format. Good safety valve on decks like Devoted Druid, on decks like Heliod, etc. Creature combo decks, so on and so forth. Just a good, solid sideboard card to have in the format. Love it. Extruder. 4 mana artifact with Echo 4. Second artifact, put a counter on a creature. This is just a limited plant for modular stuff. Whatever. It's a cool limited card. Millikin. 2 mana. Millicard. Add a mana. Delirium. Enabler for your draft decks. It's a thing. I can't say it. Disc. Disc is now in the Modern format, and it's worse than Oblivion Stone, so no one cares. Coming in tap is a death knell. That's just way too slow. It's a cool relic from Magic's history, but Larry Nevin. Patchwork Gnomes, a Madness Enabler for all your Madness decks and drafts. Of course, 2 mana, discard a card, sure. And then Zurin Orb. This is an interesting one. Really, really weird card. 0 mana, sack a land, gain 2. It looks so innocent, but definitely things you can do with this card as far as like playing lands from your graveyard, you know, Azusa, Life of the Loam, whatever. Definitely a one-up. We'll see play in some decks. Cool Urza Saga. It's a weird one. I'm not sure what this card does, and I'm sure at some point this card will see play. You know, like land stuff against Burn or Storm Fodder, sure, whatever. It's a 0 mana spell. Titania is really cool, sure. So you get to cycle all your lands, make a bunch of 5/3s, pretty cool. It's a cool card. Moving on. So now we're on to Valance. All right. So yeah. All right. Best in show. We get it. Yeah. You get the idea. Yay! Fetch lands are back. Kind of weird that these don't have the symbols on them, because these don't make sense. Like realistically, like they're not new cards, but they're not reprints with like the watermark. They're just kind of here, which is great. Everyone loves fetch lands and all, but yeah. So fetch lands great. Old art's great. Old border fetch lands. Oh yeah, old border fetch lands. Let's go. But yeah. So that's that. Fetch lands are great. New cards. Power Depot. Artifact land. I do wish there was some way to like make the artifact lands look more like artifacts. It's weird because like the original artifact lands, it feels like they have some sort of like different border, because they just look like artifact lands to me. But at the same time, they actually just like don't. They just I don't know if it's the art. I don't know what it is about artifact lands that makes them look like artifact lands, but they just like do, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, that's an artifact land. It just looks like an artifact land to me. Whereas this is like a regular land kind of thing, you know? I don't know what it is. Honestly, I don't know what it is. But whatever. Artifact land, constantly tapped. Taps for colorless. Taps to add 1 mana of any color, but only for artifacts, spells, or artifact abilities, which is kind of cool. And it's got modular 1, which is interesting. So modular 1, I mean, like, so if it dies, you have to move a counter onto an artifact ring. This being a tap land feels like a death knell. I mean, it'd be cool if it was like, came in untapped, because obviously for Arcbound Ravager, it'd be insane. If this card came in untapped, it'd be busted. Like, busted. Insanely good. You know, artifact land, colorless, makes mana, sack the Ravager, yada, yada, yada. If this makes it into a creature at a 4/4, I believe so, yes. Because it has a possible counter on it. So, but coming in tapped, I think removes all notion of this being a playable card in Modern. In draft, it's great. Super cool draft card. Like, phenomenally good draft card. But coming in tapped, you can't have your lands coming in tapped in Modern for the most part. So, not super exciting. Cool design. But reminds me of the Grav Llanowar Reborn, the Graft land. Sort of similar idea. You like put a counter on your land and get it to spread it out. But yeah, so that's deep up. Urza's Saga. What a freaking card. Another card. Oh, there's like now like 20 Magic cards that are named after stats. That's pretty fun. But a Saga land. So a land that goes away after 3 turns. Sorry. My sinuses are just like on fire. So, comes into play. It gains to add for a mana. It's also an enchantment land too. I didn't even notice that. So sure. So, it gains the ability to tap for mana. Great. It's a land. It's supposed to do that. Chapter 2. It gains the ability, tap 2, create a 0/0, create a construct, basically. A construct. That's pretty good, honestly, in artifact decks. The kind of land you don't necessarily want to play on turn 1, because if you get to use the construct ability, on turn 4 or 5, make construct again on the next upkeep, which is kind of cool. And then chapter 3, search the library for an artifact card that costs 0 or 1. Very important to note, it's to cost 0 or 1. So not free. It cannot be a no mana cost card like Mox Tantalite or Lotus Bloom. Very important. If it could do that, it'd be busted. Can't do that though. Can't do that. So sort of like a Trinket Mage land with fading that can make it's a really, really weird card. What do you do with this card? No idea. No idea. I mean, making tokens is cool. You know, if we play it later in the game, you can make your tokens. One of the weirdest cards printed in the last like decade or so, as far as like weird card. It is not a spell. You can't cast it with Lurrus. It's just a land. It's not a permanent land though, so it can get Black Lotus. Sure, if you're playing in a format where Black Lotus is legal, you can get Black Lotus. It does get Amulet of Vigor for sure, but it also just dies. So I don't know. It cannot get Dark Citadel. It doesn't have a mana cost. Folks, it has to have the printed 0 or the printed 1 on the card. So I don't know. Like Lantern Control. But again, with Mox Opal not being around, like, I don't know. It is an enchantment land for Delirium, which is pretty cool. But like, Stone Raining yourself is very real. You can't just like play this land on turn 1 and like Stone Rain yourself on turn 3 and be happy about it. So very, very odd card. I don't know. Someone smarter than me is going to figure this card out because I have no idea. And then in Limited, this card seems really, really good. You play it on turn like 4 or 5 when you have some artifacts in play already, and just like chapter 2, make construct, upkeep, make construct, go search for a 1 mana spell, which is really, really cool. So you can get a Hex Parasite or remove the counter before it kills itself. Once it resolves, it just dies. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing just tap it from a construct on turn 2, upkeep, tap for a construct on turn 3, search for your thing, and go for it. But yeah, it's a cool one. It's a wacky card. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this card. We'll find out. I'm not that smart. Hex Parasite works. Doesn't it just die immediately after the 4th chapter goes off? I don't know. All right, whatever. I'm going to move on. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, because this set's all about green stealing from black. Green stealing from black. There was a black card in Magic's history. Now it's a green card. It's green to do everything. So Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, legendary land. Everything's a forest, just like Urborg, right? Urborg seems better in most scenarios, except for in Legacy, where this can make Gaia's Cradle into a forest to untap with, or bounce with stuff, with whatever the card, Querying Ranger. Otherwise, I mean, like Urborg, this will see a little bit of play, I guess. This does not feel more green than black. Black is about infecting everything, you know, with black Phyrexian oil. Everything's going to be black, and we're going to infect everything kind of thing, you know? Why is this making my Darksteel Citadel into a forest? You know, I don't know. But yeah. Cute card, like Urborg, we'll see Fringe play. Overgrown Forest, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. And then Limited, whatever. This card's trash. Doesn't matter. Sure, Forest Walk, you know. It's just Urborg, but it's green. There's not much to say about it. All the things that Urborg does, this does also. So I'm going to move on. Cabal Claw. Speaking of Urborg. First off, Mythic.
Somebody's playing a prank on me.
Come on. But Cabal Coffers plus Urborg is a really good mana engine. Making the Cabal Coffers a swamp itself, that's pretty good. That's a real thing. And I could definitely see there being some sort of black deck in Modern that takes advantage of this. Cabal Coffers is obviously not legendary, so I don't know. We'll see. Obviously a classic Magic card, and cool reprint. Cool to see in Modern. Will it do much? We'll see. But with Urborg, this card does feel pretty real to me, so we shall see. Mishra's Factory. Welcome to the format. I love Mishra's Factory. Mishra's Factory is freaking great. Probably a better card than Blink Moth Nexus, unless you're really plating people. Just a solid creature land. This probably becomes the best creature land in the format, which is great. If you need a creature land, this does it. It's kind of simple, honestly. Great draft card. Just a really good creature land. Super solid. Super solid. Just better than Mutavault in most non-tribal scenarios. And better than Nexus for the most part. Obviously, if you're playing Plating or you're playing Inkmoth Nexus, things are a little bit different. Arbor Ravager, so on and so forth. A little different there, but great card. Probably won't see a ton of play, but just one of those cards I'm just like happy it's here. I'm just happy it's here. And then Riptide Laboratories, another blast in the past. I used to play this card extended back in the day. And this is a called shot, by the way. I called shot with some of my cool stuff article. You have to bounce your Snapcaster Mage, your Venser, your Spellstutter Sprite. It's probably a little too slow, but this is a cornerstone of extended back. All my paper boomers. This is a cornerstone of extended. All right, freaking bouncing Vidillion Click and Venser. Whoa, it was really cool, but pretty slow. Possibly a one of in like some sort of cool control deck, but it is really slow. The lab is in historic and no one plays it. Well, there's Snapcaster Mage or Spellstutter Sprite, you know. But yeah, cool card, super cool. Probably won't see much play, but the boomer this makes me really happy. So I'm just happy about it. And then Unlimited, I mean, if you have Wizards, it's really good. And then we have the Artifact lands. No, not those Artifact lands. The new Artifact lands. They are dual lands. They come in tapped. And they're indestructible. For the most part, these are all just draft cards. They help your affinity. They fix your mana. Blah, 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 blah. Except with one major exception. Oh, it's Lightning Helix! Oh my god! It's a modern deck that I brewed up a while ago called Nahiri Boom. It's a red-white land destruction deck based around Boom Bust, Cleansing Wildfire, and Stone Rain, etc., etc. And it plays 4 Flagstones, 4 Cascading Cataracts, and occasionally a Dark Sail Citadel or 2, with the intent to kill your own land with Boom or Wildfire for value. Dark Sail Citadel and Cascading Cataracts are just colorless lands in the deck. Having a dual land for that's pretty awesome. The downside, of course, is not playing Lightning Bolt or Mana Tithe on turn 1. How big of a deal that is, to be determined. But definitely games with Nahiri Boom where you don't have your colors. Don't have 2 red on turn 3. Can't cast your spells, etc., etc. This is the one member of a cycle that I think actually matters for Nahiri Boom. Maybe we're playing like 4 Flagstones, 3 Bridges, 2 Cataracts, something like that. But that's the one qualifier for these being playable. Otherwise, there's draft commons. Maybe Pauper, for sure. But that's what I got. Nahiri Boom! I love that deck. That's it. That's the whole freaking set. We did it! YouTube folks, I love you. Like, comment, subscribe. Please let me know your best in show for this, for Colorless. Your best in show overall. And then if you missed any of these on YouTube, go watch them. There'll be 7 total episodes, 1 for each color, 1 for multicolor, and 1 for Colorless. And Nahiri Boom also gets the dragon too, but Nahiri's the bomb. Now, but yeah, YouTube folks, I love you. Like, comment, subscribe, check everything out. Please support me. It's my full-time gig, as I do for a living, and all you gotta do is hit the little like button. It's all you have to do. All right? I love you. Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate it. I'll see you next time for the next set review. And 10 new brews next week. See you there.